how do you see the future of the Caribbean fintech and digital payments landscape evolving over the next few years? And where do you see the investment opportunities there?
Right. So I'd like to go back to, how you mentioned, hey, the place in 2019 to 2020 seemed ripe and everyone and their cousin was starting a fintech.
Right.
I can provide you some context for that because I'm from that space, right? In the fintech space, I'm part of this ecosystem in Miami. That's the period when it had crypto money. That's the period where everybody was launching a coin, and you have people who were not investors becoming multi-millionaires overnight just by, hey, I take $1,000, I launch this meme coin, Doge, whatever, and my $1,000 is now 10 million. So now I'm an investor. I'm pumping money into a lot of projects by people who don't even know how to write a business plan, right? If you look at what happened, look at the investments when you get a second. Look at the companies FTX was invested in. Look how many fintech companies they were invested in. They had a fund. And a certain company out of Barbados, I'm going to call his name, they had all got some money, right?
I know you're talking about.
Right? Okay. I don't have no vodka in me or no thing in me. Why that? I feel sending it through the phone, and the last time we got on here, we had a lot of unnecessary nuggets that was placed in the. So I would say this, bro. That period had a lot of free money. So you had a lot of things that were being built that wasn't real things. You have a lot of people promising dreams based on this free money. So they're going to pitch a story and they're going to do this. They're going to fix the Forex problem. They're going to do. Well, that time has gone, as they call it, in the FinTech Winter. And only strong would survive. Only real solutions will survive. So I believe it's actually a good thing, right? Because just like the 2008 crash, after that happened and people was too busy not renting out the homes, now they needed the money, so Airbnb popped up and was a lifesaver for people who need the extra income. Uber popped up and was a lifesaver for people who need the extra income, who was driving to work and have 3 seats in the back that they could have added additional revenue or additional income, sorry. That's the same thing that's going to happen. You're going to now have products that has to actually provide value for it to succeed, and not just products that, oh, I have this company out to XYZ. All right, how much revenue you had last year? Nobody talks about revenue.
None.
We are pre-revenue. Yeah. You remember that Silicon Valley movie? It was a series, Silicon Valley.
Yeah. It was on YouTube or something like that, right?
Yeah. So there's this thing when this guy was talking about, hey, so let's document our revenue on our growth profile, and then one of the investors said, yo, we don't talk about revenue. If we talk about revenue, then there's expectations, and it's never going to be enough. What we talk about is we're at pre-revenue.
Right.
So the sky is the limit. So we can say we are pre-revenue, but we expect to be a $1 billion company in 6 years. And that's how you get investment. So that's what was happening during that free money, that crypto money. Now your products have to make money, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So for our market, I believe, we're going to struggle a bit, but the ones that do come out of it is actually going to help us as a community. So, it always happens. It's always the up and down cycle with the stock market, with economies. It always happens. After the crash, there's the ones that rise to the top.
Survival of the fittest. Okay, so if you're talking to an investor, how would you, I don't want to use the word advise, but what would you suggest they do? Where would you suggest they look?
Investors?
Yeah.
Like a Trinidadian investor?
Trinidadian, could be an investor from the diaspora, could be an investor from the US who's just interested in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
Yeah, where would you?
So, I mean, and this is, I will just give you my perspective,
Sure.
right? My perspective is always going to have a WiPay slant, as I mentioned to you. How does this investment bring me any value? But I can tell you, I was here in Trinidad and I ventured into something outside of WiPay, right? In some of the hospitality space now. And for me, those investment comes from what I think my understanding is of the market. So the same way I approach the fintech market with understanding the fintech market, I invest into a couple companies over the last week and a half, 2 weeks when I've been here, based on what my understanding is of the hospitality market, right? The restaurant business, right? So for an investor, right, and this is the biggest thing in fintech for the last year and a half. The worst thing is to get one of these VCs. Because you get a VC into your company, they're not about the dream. They're about, okay, I put 10 million in. How do you scale my 10 million into 20? I don't care what the plan is. This is my plan. But if you had the plan before, why didn't you just do it with your money all the time?
Mm.
So as an investor, right, I just look at, okay, the person that I'm investing in, is he a dreamer? Is he a believer? That's one. Can he execute? Because there's a lot of dreamers, but then they can't execute. Where's the proof in his execution? So the things that I invested in that I won't mention right here,
Mm-hmm.
these guys had a dream and they executed on it. I'm like, yeah, okay. So you built this business, right? And my thing is, okay, you built a successful business, let's say in Port of Spain. For me, when I look back, if I could multiply this in San Fernando, Chagonas, in the east, then I could multiply this revenue by 4. So the investment for me is I'll give you what you're saying you need. I say, hey, I want to expand this business into 4 more cities. Would you be able to do that? Do you have the understanding or the capacity to do it? I know they can because they already did it once. But that conversation lets me know, listen, they have that appetite to do it. Then my money is just like the third thing of importance on the list. We have someone with the appetite, the know-how, and all they need the money to execute it. So as an investor, I would say, hey, at the end of the day, there's a lot of willing people to take your money out there. But if you have the ability, or if you believe that that person has the ability to execute on the dream that they are selling, or even if they're not selling a dream, the ability to execute,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much what I would look at. And that's works for us, having that ability to execute. Because a business plan is great. ChatGPT can spit out an awesome business plan.
It really can.
ChatGPT could give me an awesome prospectus on a company that, they have no idea how I built it. But if I want to get $10 from you, and I give you an awesome prospectus, spit my numbers into ChatGPT, spit my business plan and, my forecast into that, and say, spit me out a prospectus. That doesn't mean it's going to work. But your trust in what I've done before should be that deciding factor. And that's my 2 cents on investing.
Yeah. So you look at the person, you look at the opportunity. I mean, the opportunity has to be there, but most importantly, it has to be the person. The person has to be of good character, and it has to be somebody who you believe could do what they say they're going to do.
Well, I've shown that they could do what they say they could do. The prospectus or the opportunity opens the door. Mm-hmm. And then when you sit in the office and I ask you, how are we going to get from where we are to where you say we're going to get? And you can't clearly articulate that to me.
Yeah.
But if you could sit here and I'm like, oh, dang, I see it. I see how you know exactly how we're going to get from here to here. Right? My money is just as good as anybody else's. You know what? I want in. Mm-hmm. And that's the guy that I'll buy into.
Okay.
Any day.